With last year's MVP taking snaps, the Super Bowl window for the Buffalo Bills is wide open. The AFC's tough. There's some tough teams, but Josh Allen's a damn good quarterback with a damn good roster around him. He should be just fine, and the rest of this team should be able to help him compete and go ahead and potentially hoist a Lombardi come the end of this season. It all starts with number 17, though. What he provides as a runner and the ability to extend the field with his arm has made him one of the top quarterbacks of the 2020s. But unlike past Bills teams, they don't completely depend on the play of their elite quarterback. Khalil Shakir can take screenplays for huge gains, and James Cook had a great season last year on the ground and as a check-down option. The Bills run a lot of gap scheme with absolute behemoths like O'Cyrus Torrence to run behind. It really works well, right? Gap scheme is all about having those bigger guys that get vertical displacement with purely their physical ability. O'Cyrus Torrence is a great example of that. This guy is a mauler in the run game. And then with Spencer Brown taking huge strides forward last season, the duo of him and Deion Dawkins is one of the best in the league right now. This line can both pave lanes for James Cook, but also protect Josh Allen, so when they do put the game in his hands, he has the ability to dial up deep shots to Keon Coleman. I am really a fan of what Joe Brady has done to this offensive unit. Now there's a lot more stuff to help Josh Allen out. The hitch routes, the timing-based passing attack really works well for Josh Allen. Then you're able to rely on the run game too, and then you get so caught up in how efficient this attack can be, all of a sudden, you're forgetting that Josh Allen is this elite quarterback that can single-handedly create some big 70-yard chunk play. That's what makes the Bills so dangerous now, that it isn't just about Josh Allen. It's about everyone else, right? Josh Allen is just the ace up the sleeve. Okay, fine, I guess we'll start relying on Allen, and then he starts carving you up, right? This team is ridiculous. This team really is, because while they don't have a true number one, they are so deep. From Keon Coleman to Khalil Shakir to Josh Palmer, Laviska Shenault, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson. I know that sounds like I'm just listing all of their offensive weapons, but each of those guys are at bare minimum a high caliber rotational guy. This is a loaded offensive cast. Even though they don't have that standout player that isn't Josh Allen, getting a great quarterback and surrounding him with a lot of good, even if it's not great, a lot of good only goes well. And I could make a strong argument for James Cook being a great weapon. I can make an argument that Khalil Shakir is one of the best after-catch players in the league. I can make an argument that Keon Coleman in his second year will establish himself as one of the best true possession 50-50 ball receivers in the league. The ceiling for this offense is so high because of how young all of those weapons I just named are. But the floor is also high because Josh Allen exists. Not to mention this offensive line, stupendous offensive line that they could really rely on. But Sean McDermott is a defensive-minded coach. Okay, so who would I be if I didn't talk about that defensive unit? Is it as flashy as the offense? No, but McDermott doesn't want it to be. His defensive ideology revolves around a simple phrase: bend, don't break. A lot of softer coverage. You're going to see some cover one, a lot of off-man stuff, and you're also going to see a lot of spot drop coverage, okay? Coverage where guys are really just responsible for their zone. They're fine letting up a easy hitch route, just get the tackle right after. That's what Sean McDermott is all about. And then when you get into the red zone, it's very difficult to score a touchdown, but you're likely going to end the drive with a field goal. He's fine with that because he trusts his offense to really win in the game. The defense just simply keeps them afloat. Against the bad teams, it could really take a game over. Against the better offenses, that's where I get a little bit concerned because I look at this defensive roster. They're lacking a true, game changer. There's no one here that makes you say, oh, we have to game plan around him. We have to make sure that we don't run the ball because this guy is so good. They're missing a Micah Parsons. they're missing a TJ Watt. They're missing a Pat Surtain, right? They don't have someone of that caliber. But there's a lot of very, very good guys like Christian Benford, right, who's been a great corner for Buffalo, and last year he allowed just 5 yards per target. Guys like Matt Milano, who, when healthy, really, really damn good. One of the better linebackers in the league. But health has been an issue for him. He only played 5 games last season, and the season before that he only played 4. Greg Rousseau was a very good player, right? 58 pressures last year. He was their best pass rusher, and it's been that way since his breakout season. Guys like Ed Oliver, who is one of the more athletic defensive tackles that's very good at disengaging. All of those guys, very good players. None of them, though, would go in that elite category. None of them are top 5 in their position, right? And that's fine. There's a lot of good here, and they all fit that scheme. Teron Johnson is a true glue guy for them. He's been a nickel corner for pretty much the whole time that Sean McDermott has been coaching this team. He's very good. He's able to defend the run, but also blitz a little bit. He's a good coverage guy. He's really everything that you want in a nickel. He might be the most textbook nickel since the position really became a extremely popular thing, right? Maxwell Harrison, maybe you're hoping he could be that elite guy for you. He was their first-round pick this year. Very instinctive off-coverage corner with great closing speed. So I think it's a good fit. But can he be that true breakout stud? If you are going against the Bengals, who do you trust to cover Jamar Chase? You know? Yeah, I think Christian Benford will do all right, but all right against Jamar Chase is still letting up 100 yards. Okay? That's the issue with this team. That is. But I'm not going to act like there's a weakness here, because there isn't. I like every starter here. Everyone in their starting 11 is a starting caliber player. Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop, 2 smart, instinctive safeties that don't let anything by them. Terrell Bernard, good at fitting the run while also being trustworthy in zone coverage. I like Daquan Jones as someone that could eat up double teams so you're able to get as much as you can out of Ed Oliver. And Joey Bosa, I think he's kind of coasting off name value. However, AJ Epinesa off the bench, he was fine as a starter last season. Everyone here is a starting caliber player. Overall, this is a defensive lineup where there are 11 NFL starting caliber players. Some of those starters are very, very good. None of them, though, are complete game changers. And that's the issue here. If you're a team like the Ravens, who are very, very good at running the football, what about the Bills makes you say, we're not going to rely on the run today? We're not going to feed Derrick Henry today. There is nothing. And that's the issue. But McDermott does a great job creating a cohesive unit with 11 guys, a unit that is better than the sum of its parts. My biggest concern here, though, is when they are facing against a team that has a very clear game plan, a very clear identity, and they try and establish that and dominate you in one specific way. The Bills simply don't have the guys to force a team away from their identity. But they are so great offensively. Defensively, there is so much to like here. There is nothing to take advantage of. The floor is a lot higher for this team than almost any other team in the NFL. They are great in terms of their floor. And the ceiling is also really high. But they have to do a little bit. Some guys have to break out for them to be able to reach that. How does that translate in the wins and losses column? Let's look at the schedule and find out. Not only are the Bills a really damn good team, but there's also a pretty easy schedule here. Like, there's not many difficult games here. There really isn't. So I have them as the top seed in the AFC. I think they win 13 games and hold that top seed. I think they win it. Starting with week 1, I think this will be one of their most difficult challenges. I know that I just said, yeah, the Ravens are a team that kind of scares me for Buffalo. But not in week 1, not in the regular season. I think this is going to be a game where Todd Monken and the Ravens really overthink it. They want to display Lamar Jackson in the season opener. They want to do all this different stuff to really set a message to the rest of the league. Saying like, yeah, the Ravens are here to play, baby. And in doing so, I think they're not going to have that one-dimensional approach that they should in order to beat a team like Buffalo. I think that the Bills win this one. I do. This is also their home game. I'm taking Buffalo. Week 2, if they were to lose any of these first 6 games, other than that Ravens one, it would be this Jets game. It would. But I think it's a little bit early for an upset. It is. I think that, well, that running game is good. Like, I really like what the Jets running game can be. I don't think the Bills are going to be too worn out at this point. I think the Bills are going to have a good game plan to limit that, right? I think they're going to still have fresh legs on the field. I think the Bills win that one, right? Because it's early in the year. Now, if this was the Week 4 game, I think the Jets win it. But because it's so early in the season, I think the Bills are going to be fresh out the gate and ready. Now, these are two teams that I'm not scared of at all, if I'm them. The Dolphins, they're going to work to get that quick passing game going, and, that's fine. And you'll be able to dink and dunk your way down the field, but you're not going to get too many yards after the catch, because that's what this McDermott defense is all about, right? This McDermott defense is all about limiting the yards after the catch. They'll let up the easy completion, but they are not letting you get yards after, and I think the Dolphins are very dependent on that. Very dependent on that. This seems like a Bills win to me, right? Now, they have a mini-bye playing against the Saints. That's the thing. With the Bills being this good of a team, this well-rounded of a defense, there's nothing for a team like the Saints to really exploit, right? And if you don't have like a go-to punch that's overly great, I think the Bills would give you trouble. I think the Bills win that one. I think the Patriots find themselves with the same issue. I think Drake May is a really good quarterback, but there's not a great receiver room there. There isn't, right? Maybe they're able to design a bunch of zone beaters, but I think McDermott's going to be good with that. I think he'll have the guys ready. And even then, they have the ability to play this off-man coverage too. I don't think the Patriots have the guys to beat them. Defensively, do they cause many issues? I don't think so, because the Bills can attack you with their run game, with their short passing game, with their long passing game. They are so versatile on both sides of the ball. The Falcons, maybe if Bijan Robinson has a really good game, the Bills are on the road after all, but I don't think this is some run game that should dominate that Bills defensive front. I think they'll be fine there. And then off of a bye, they're playing the Panthers. Yeah, that's an easy one. They're off a bye. Now they have so much momentum. Yeah, the Chiefs could be scary, and they should be. The Chiefs are a very good team. But the Bills are in the midst of a huge win streak. Why let it stop now? At home, if this were playoffs and the Chiefs had all of their different trick plays coming up, fine. And they're going to throw some stuff at them. But generally, well, we know the Chiefs start to slack a little bit around this area. I think this could be a Bills win. I'm expecting that, right? And then the Dolphins, I don't love that matchup for them at all. I don't think the Dolphins match up well against them. I think the Bills beat them again. But then I think the Buccaneers finally get the upset. I think the Buccaneers finally prove this team is beatable. That's going to be because of all the blitz stuff, right? Because while I really like that offensive line, I think you can expose them by blitzing a lot. I think you could get in Josh Allen's face, force him to make some mistakes. I think by now the Bills can maybe be a little bit overconfident. The Buccaneers are a really good team. I think that running game is good enough for a talented and well-rounded Bills defense to finally say, oh, that's a really good attack, and we don't have someone to really force the issue there. We don't have anyone that's going to force them to lean away from Bucky Irving. Oh, no, they're going to give us problems in that way. And it's not like the Buccaneers are going to try and be this vertically explosive team. I think they want you to run that soft coverage, keep getting those easy dink and dunk plays. I think the Buccaneers are a perfect team to take advantage of the weaknesses in that Bills scheme and that Bills team as a whole. Week 12, I think the Texans are another team. They have their go-tos here, right? Yeah, their O-line is very weak. And maybe the Bills can do some stuff to take advantage of that. But this game's in Houston. Let's start off with that. And 2, that secondary is damn good. They are going to restrict Josh Allen here. And that pass rush is going to get in Josh Allen's face. I like that tackle duo, but I like this edge rush duo more. I think the Texans are able to win on the defensive side of the ball. And then offensively, is there anyone that can stop a Nico Collins? I feel like people underestimate how good of a weapon he is. This is going to be a team that is good enough at something specific to say, yeah, you're well-rounded, but you're not good enough at this specific area. I think the Texans win right there. I definitely think that the Bills beat the Steelers, though. I think that's like a bounce-back game for them, coming off a mini-bye. That's an important one. I think the Bengals are going to score, score, score. Yeah, you could restrict the big play, but can you restrict Jamar Chase? Can you restrict T. Higgins? I know the scheme is supposed to stop the big play, but it doesn't matter if your guys can't execute it against these two great receivers. Joe Burrow is going to do damage. I think this is going to be a shootout, but I think the Bengals ultimately end up winning this one. But then the Bills win 3 straight against the Patriots. Yeah, they're coming off a bye, but I think after losing against the Bengals, they have to bounce back. They're not going to lose against the Browns. The Eagles can give them some trouble. They definitely can. But I think they know this is an opportunity to say, yeah, we know that you're a really good team, and we know we beat some good teams early in the year, like the Ravens, but we haven't beat a good team in a while. It's been, week 9 was the last time we beat an overly great team. We need to send a message here. I think they're going to pull out all the stops, go ahead and beat them, do everything they can, right? Jalen Hurts wants to make those big plays. I know there's not anyone here that I expect to stop an A.J. Brown, but if they're able to force Jalen Hurts to make these full field progressions, he could have some problems there, right? Now, yeah, can the Eagles, in theory, run all over them? Maybe, but I think they're going to do everything in their power to go ahead and play against a Philly team that I think is going to be by far leading their division at this point, so there's not as much for them to fight for. This game just means more to Buffalo at home than it does to Philly, and I think they get upset by the Jets because that Jets rushing attack ultimately gets to them after getting beat down by the Eagles. I also think right now they might be benching their starters. Ultimately, good Bills season. I mean, winning 13 games, how far can they get in playoffs? That's going to be the big question from there.